This is Wolverines All-Access!
Welcome to Wolverines All-Access, your inside look into Bridgton Academy athletics. Today is graduation day, a bittersweet day for students, faculty, and parents alike. In this episode, we find out how the year impacted several members of our community, both students and faculty. But before we get to that, however, the baseball and lacrosse teams finished out this school year with their spring seasons. Let's check out the highlights now.
For only the second time in the past 15 years, Wolverine athletes were able to get out on the field and practice when they returned from spring break. Mother Nature graced us with some exceptional weather and we hit the ground running. The lacrosse team took their lumps this spring, but had some outstanding individual performances. We embarked on our traditional spring tour of New England and made stops in Avon, Connecticut, Exeter, New Hampshire, and West Point, New York, to name a few. The boys held their own against traditional prep school powers Avon Old Farms, Phillips Exeter Academy, and New Hampton School. At the end of April, the boys had the opportunity to square off against the U.S. Military Academy JV team in historic Michie Stadium. The season ended up with the second annual Newport Cup tournament hosted by the Naval Academy Prep School in Newport, Rhode Island. This high-powered affair pits four of North America's top post-grad lacrosse programs as BA joined Army Prep, Hill Academy of Ontario, and the host Navy Prep. We would like to congratulate head coach Garrett Bayman, along with assistants Tucker Pruden and Brian Farrell, as they helped the lacrosse team reach a 100% college placement for the second year in a row. We wish the boys well as they head off to college next fall. The baseball team had a record-setting spring. Head coach Aaron Izarek led the Wolverine baseball team to a 12-2 record for the spring, and in the process set a new record for wins over the year. With 18 wins in the fall, the baseball team's 30 wins over the course of the year eclipsed the old school mark by one. The baseball team also reached another milestone this spring. April 25th marked the first time in school history that two Wolverine baseball teams took the field against two different teams at the same time. Led by Coach Izarek, one group of boys took the field against Phillips Exeter Academy, while 30 miles to the west, a second group of boys was led by assistant coach Tim Atwood against Southern New Hampshire University. As the 12-2 record indicates, it was a very successful year. We took to the road early in the season and knocked off a couple of ISL powers in Thayer Academy and Buckingham Brown and Nichols. The boys also took care of junior college talent in Massasoit Community College in Massachusetts and right here in Maine against Southern Maine Community College. Some local prep schools came in and gave us some early trouble, but in the end, the Wolverine talent simply stretched too far and they were eventually subdued. A good luck to all the baseball players headed off to play in college next year.
Next up, we sat down with baseball player Zach Littman. You might remember the name as he was introduced as Wolverine Athlete of the Month back in November. We wanted to find out how the year changed him and the lessons he learned along the way. We had a chance to catch up with him after chapel a few weeks ago. Here's what he had to say.
Hi, my name is Zachary Littman. I'm from Abington, Massachusetts, and I'm a member of the Bridgton Academy baseball team. By far, my maturity level in high school, I've told a lot of people around campus that I wasn't the best student, and I like to mess around a lot, but I was really blessed for the opportunity that my father gave me to come to this school, and I made him a promise before I came that I wouldn't let him down. I'd really take full advantage of what Bridgton had to offer. So I mean, I really matured this year. To trust the process. You'll hear Coach Izzy and the coaches tell you that all year long is to trust the process. And at first it's tough because you have a set goal in mind that you want to do this and get there right away. But I mean, it doesn't happen like the snap of the fingers, whether it's playing time or in the weight room. So they have a plan for you, and you just trust the process and take it one day at a time, and eventually it'll lead up to getting the goals you want. That I'm actually capable of getting good grades and keeping up with all the schoolwork. In high school, I didn't really do my homework too much, and I'd basically go on test and quiz days and wing it. But I realized that preparing yourself is a lot more a lot more fun going in on test day. It was like, all right, I know this answer. It's like, you don't have to be looking around the room like, what the heck? But preparing yourself really surprised myself how well I could do in the classroom. The most challenging thing for me was definitely not being able to be home with my family and friends, and it's just very different from being home for the first 18 years of your life, and then all of a sudden you're 4 hours away from home, and all you can really talk is by telephone, unless you Skype. But not being able to see my family and friends was definitely the toughest thing, especially with Facebook. You see all your buddies with pictures from college, and you almost feel like you're missing out a little bit, but you got to think that you're here for a purpose, and that by the end you'll be there next year if you do everything you got to do. The best piece of advice that I could give to a future BA student would be to have your goals set out and know what you want, and come here with them in mind, and don't let anything get in your way of reaching your goals, whether that's to play at a certain division or academically you want to reach a certain grade point average. Everything's right here in front of you, and all the coaches and teachers are there at your fingertips. So, I mean, have your goals and don't let anything get in your way. Coming to a school like Bridgton Academy can open so many doors athletically and academically that I honestly couldn't even imagine by the end of high school. So coming here was huge for me academically and athletically. It opened a lot of doors that really made it worthwhile coming.
Bridgton Academy is not just a place for students to grow for a year. 3 years ago, we began an internship program to help teachers and coaches develop into seasoned professionals. In this segment, we catch up with intern lacrosse coach Brian Farrell. Now this time last year, Brian was helping to lead the Maryland Terrapins to the NCAA championship game in lacrosse before ultimately falling to the University of Virginia. Prior to his arrival in the fall, Brian helped lead the Boston Cannons to their first ever Major League Lacrosse championship. Let's meet Brian now.
I got an experience of being a defensive coordinator for a preparatory school, which, you know, at the end of the day, you get to learn you get to put in your own defenses and learn different styles that work, and watch film and break it down and talk to the kids about what worked, what didn't work. And I think Coach Bayman gave me a lot of freedom to do what I wanted to do. And that really helped me become a better coach in the sense that I was more independent. I didn't rely on my coaches or my teammates to help me out like I did in college. I thought, you know, there's so many specific highlights you can talk about, but highlights for me came every day in practice because I threw in a defense that was a little bit more complicated than regular defenses. And I don't know if you ever watched the practice of ours, but every time a kid did what I told him to do or understood the concept, and maybe he didn't make the play, but he was there and he understood the concept, I went nuts on the field because I was so happy that they were listening to what I had to say. They were buying into my defense, and it was just I had so many great moments on the field, whether it be in practice or in the games. They would relate their practice right into the games, and you know, that to me is what it's all about.
I just think the opportunities we gave the kids week in and week out, not only in the fall but in the spring too, with the level of competition that we went against. I think in the fall it was great to get the kids to the showcases. I knew nothing about showcases. I had no idea what they were, especially in respect to prep schools. I didn't know what they meant, but just going to showcases and seeing how many coaches were there on the sidelines, and it just gave the kids a lot of opportunity to showcase their best skills every week. And I know that's the reason that most of the kids got into some of the schools that they wanted to. You know, they were seen every weekend by different coaches, and they put on great shows for these coaches every week, and that's the reason that they got recruited. And then going into the spring, we play such a great spring schedule and such a difficult schedule that it was just amazing to see the level of competition every week. You know, we played against the best of the best in the prep school. We played the Army preps, the Navy preps, the Exeters, the Andovers. We played the best schools in the prep league, and it was great to give these kids good competition so that they're ready for the next level. I mean, I look at my experience here at Bridgton, I couldn't think of a better first job that I could have had, because of all the different things I was able to do as an intern. Not only was I able to coach, but as you mentioned, I was the assistant athletic director, and as the assistant athletic director, I got to learn all what an athletic director does, whether it be scheduling games, calling other schools to make sure the teams are set, putting out jerseys for the kids before the game, which I loved to do because I knew how cool that was, getting a jersey when I was playing, and then going out, setting up fields, doing the scoreboard, breaking down fields at the end of the day. It was a great experience just to learn what it's like in the life of an athletic director and in the life of the athletic world in the prep school. Then you throw on the fact that I was able this spring to help out in the teaching world. I was a teacher's assistant for Mr. Taylor's public speaking class, and that was just an experience in itself as well too. I mean, you got a great teacher in Rich, and I always kept telling him that I was a student as well too, because I was always taking notes of how he taught his class, some of the things that worked, some of the things that didn't work, how to give a test. I never thought that, how to grade a paper. I mean, last year I was writing papers and taking tests, so it was pretty cool to see what goes through a teacher's mind when they're grading papers and writing tests. So that was a great experience. And then I also got to teach a couple classes, which was always a good thing. I think the kids appreciated it sometimes because they weren't getting lectured by Mr. Taylor, which it's not a bad thing, but they thought it was like an easy day because Mr. Farrell was coaching, which is it may or may not have been, but I got a lot of experience in the couple classes that I taught what worked, what didn't work. So the admission staff gave me 2 weeks to work for for the admissions down in Baltimore and the Washington area, and that experience alone was incredible. I mean, I learned so much different ways of selling the school to other kids and interacting with guidance counselors, interacting with students. It was just a great experience for me, and I was going around areas that I knew and that I was familiar with, which was always fun. And I was able to hang out with my friends and see the schools that I hung out with, that in some cases I went to, and it was just such a great experience to talk to guidance counselors, to talk to athletic directors, to talk to these students, and really tell them more about Bridgton Academy, because a lot of people don't know, and especially in that area, about Bridgton Academy. And I was able to inform them about the great opportunities that this school provides kids that might need a year and may need that one more extra push to get into the college that they want. And then finally, this internship helped me out as being a dorm parent. Every night I was in control of 20 to 30 kids. I think it was like 26 actually. 26 kids, and as much as knuckleheads they're a good group of kids, but I learned the responsibilities of controlling 20 to 30 kids every night and making sure that they're doing the right things, making sure that they're getting out of bed to go to chapel, making sure that they're in their rooms at a normal time, that they're getting their studying done, that they're not skipping study hall. And it really was a great responsibility, because at the end of the day, this school doesn't run without the boarding aspect of them being able to stay over, and without dorm parents it's really hard for the school to run. So I think it's a great deal of responsibility, and that's something it taught me, is how to be responsible and taking care of other people. Skiing, once I got skiing in me, I was like, this is something I can take and I can go with. And I just love just being free up there and going down a hill.
It's time for us to present our final Athlete of the Month awards for the class of 2012. First up is Matt Pagano.
This outfielder on the Wolverine baseball team comes to us from Cranston, Rhode Island. Matt helped the Wolverine baseball team achieve a 12-2 record for the spring, and in the process set a new school record for wins in a year. Matt hit .414 with 19 hits. This included 2 doubles, 3 triples, and a home run. He added an impressive 17 RBIs to his total for the year, and he was a consistent presence in the middle of a lineup that tore apart opposing pitching all spring. We'd like to wish Matt well as he heads off to Marist College next fall to be a part of the Red Foxes baseball team. Our next honoree is Jake Johnson. This lacrosse attackman hails from Trabuco Canyon, California. During the month, Jake was a steady producer for the Wolverines. He netted 11 goals for the spring, including a hat trick against New Hampton and key goals against Navy Prep. In the last weekend of the season, Jake led all scorers with 5 goals over 2 games as the Wolverines took on 2 really tough opponents in Army Prep and Hill Academy in the 2nd annual Newport Cup. Congratulations to Jake as he committed to attend Colorado State University and play for their top-ranked MCLA lacrosse team. Congratulations to all our athletes on an outstanding year, and we wish them well as they continue their pursuit of athletics at the collegiate level. Well, that brings this episode of Wolverines All-Access to a close, and with it, the 2012 school year. We wish our athletes well as they go on to pursue athletics in college next year, and join us next fall as we meet a whole new set of BA student athletes and find out their stories as well. Have a great summer.